one thing that I really want to just talk about for a minute is how I hear people talk so often in the city about the Yankees, and the Yankees are had not been to the World Series since 2009, and I hear a lot of people in the media and fans they're constantly bashing Yankees management and ownership for not spending enough to bring in players who, in the public's mind, in the media, in the New York sports media, in the fans' mind, would have gotten the Yankees a World Series by now had they spent more money and brought in certain players. Okay, even though the Yankees had the second highest payroll in baseball this year behind the Mets. Okay, and the Mets with the biggest payroll. And a lot of people think that if you spend a lot of money, it's going to lead to success and wins. Well, the first thing is, yeah, having money definitely helps you and gives you an advantage, no doubt about it. But you cannot buy a championship, and that's what a lot of people in the sports media and fans they don't understand. Obviously, because that's all I hear them talking about and crying about. And all playoffs, all right. All I was hearing is New York sports media figures and fans crying about how the Yankees did not sign Bryce Harper, who is now a Philadelphia star. Bryce Harper, he was a child phenom. He was kind of on the fast track in the baseball version of LeBron James. All right, where we heard about him in high school and he was dominating. He's from Vegas. All right, he was dominating, and as a young kid in high school, he was destroying everybody. He was so good he did not even play in high school his senior year. He was playing for some semi pro team. Number one pick, everything, all that. He goes to Washington and as a star, wins the MVP in 2014, I believe. And lefty hitter, and yeah, his dad was a Mickey Mantle fan. I even heard Bryce Harper saying that he grew up a Yankees fan. So he was perfectly made to play at Yankee Stadium. And Bryce Harper was my favorite player was Jose Reyes when he was playing, and then Bryce Harper as he got into the league and developed, he became uh, my second favorite player to watch. And then when Reyes retired, briefly Bryce Harper was my new favorite player to watch when Reyes retired. But now I gotta give that nod to Jazz Chisholm, all right, who actually is from the Bahamas, plays for Miami Marlins. But Bryce Harper, there's no one who wanted Bryce Harper on the Yankees more than I did when he was a free agent after the end of the 2018 season. All right, like I said, he was perfect to be a Yankee, being a left-handed hitter. All right, the Yankee Stadium, they have a very short porch in right field. All right, so if he hits the ball, if he pulls it and hits it, all right, semi-hard, it's gone. I get all that. And when the Yankees did not get him, I was disappointed because I'm a fan of his, and it would have been great seeing him on the Yankees. But I got it. The Yankees at the time had a lineup full of stars offensively. All right, the Yankees' problem when Bryce Harper was available as a free agent was not offense. It was not hitting. All right, the Yankees had one of the best lineups of all time on paper. Okay, so they and as I pointed out before, Yankees, all right, before Bryce Harper and after, all right, have had plenty of teams that on paper were good enough to win the World Series. They just did not win the World Series. Just like right now, the Philadelphia Phillies that just got beat in the National League Championship Series, they had a roster that was more than capable of winning the World Series, of getting to the World Series. And that's all you heard from Yankee fans and media members running their mouth all day, all month about, oh, the Yankees, Brian Cashman, he messed up. He should have signed Bryce Harper. If he had signed Bryce Harper, they would be in the World Series right now. They would win the World Series, okay? Philadelphia Phillies, they gave not only Bryce Harper a lot of money, they gave Trey Turner, the shortstop, they gave him a big, like 11-year contract or something like that, worth, all right, what, $300 million, okay? And, Kyle Schwarber, another big power hitter, another stud. They gave him big money. All right, the catcher, Rio Muto, gave him big money. All guys who fans were saying the Yankees, if they had gotten these guys and had these guys, the Yankees, with what they already have, would be in the World Series, would win a World Series. And everybody swore that Philadelphia was going to make the World Series. And what happened? They ended up getting beat. Bryce Harper and all those other high-priced ball players who Philadelphia gave big money to, all of them ended up where the Yankees ended up, okay, this year and several years before this year, and that is not in the World Series, okay? And my point has always been, you cannot buy a World Series. The Yankee management and ownership have put the team in position every year to win the World Series. They always have a lot of talent, and they get to the playoffs every year. This year, they did not. But before this year, they had several seasons, several opportunities to make the World Series, okay? They lost to the Astros, 2017, 2019, and 2022 in the American League Championship Series, okay? If they win that series, they get to the World Series. And I always say that the biggest difference between the Yankees right now and the Yankees of the late 90s and early 2000, in 2000 when they won the 4 World Series in 5 seasons, I say it all the time. The Yankees, since then, have had more talent on paper. More talent, okay, much more, all right? I go back to when they had an all-star player at every position in 2006, okay? Really quickly, in 2006, the Yankees had Robinson Cano at second base, Jason Giambi at first base, Derek Jeter at shortstop, Alex Rodriguez at third base, Jorge Posada at catcher. In the outfield, they had 4 more All-Stars, Bobby Abreu, Hideki Matsui, Gary Sheffield, and Abreu, Sheffield, Matsui, and Johnny Damon. 4 All-Stars, okay? Literally, an All-Star at every position, and they got beaten in the first round against Detroit, who, by the way, had Kenny Rogers, who 10 years prior, in 96, the Yankees trade for him. He's an all-star in Texas, okay? They got him from Texas. They bring him to the Bronx. He's an all-star. They bring him in to be a big-time pitcher. He is terrible for the Yankees. Cannot pitch in New York. Even came back to pitch for the Mets in 99 and walked in the National League Series clinching walk to Atlanta to send Atlanta to the World Series and the Mets home in 99, if you recall that. So 96, all right, first year with the Yankees, he's terrible. And in the World Series, he gets the ball in Game 4 after 4th starter. He was supposed to be at the top of the rotation before the year, but he's not very good. Then he gets the ball in Game 4 with the Yankees down 2-1 in Atlanta. He almost blows the series for them because he gets them into a 6-0 hole. The Yankees come back to win that game eventually, but, all right, Rogers was a disaster. Then, all right, like I said, 2006, 10 years later, in Game 3 of that series, the Yankees, with an all-star lineup, cannot do anything against this guy. He blows them away. So a lot of times like that over the last, since 2001, where the Yankees had chances to, all right, make the World Series, all right, and got beat, got knocked off, all right, just like Philadelphia and all their talent, okay? And baseball is very tricky. It's very different than other sports where you get to the playoffs and the best teams, all right, on paper, a lot of times, most of the time now, get knocked off and do not even make it to the World Series. So everybody likes to knock Yankees management and ownership, but to me, I've always said it, it's the players, on the players, because management has given the team, given the lineup, the roster, a lot of really good players, all right? And they prove that by getting to the playoffs every year. But baseball is a sport where even the best teams who win 100 games, all right, they lose 60 games, okay? So any team in the playoffs, in a 5-7 game series, any team can get got. Any team can get knocked off. Every team during the season have bad weeks, okay, where they lose, okay, 4 or 5 games, okay? It happens to every team. So with the baseball playoffs, I don't care who you are, how good you are, how much talent you have, you got to produce. You got to be clutch, which the Yankees from 96 through 2000 were very clutch. And that's why they won 4 World Series, and they had less talent, okay? Since then, more talent, not as clutch. They go home like Philadelphia and Bryce Harper and all those high-priced players went home. And if Bryce Harper was with the Yankees with his 13-year, $300+ million contract, all that would happen is that it would be even more disappointing when the Yankees, with him too, fail to make the World Series. Okay, so the Yankees have had enough to win. They got to go out there and do it. We'll see what they do this offseason because we know right now, after not making the playoffs, they got to make some power moves. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to be back on the line when I come back with my guy, Joshua Garcia. We're going to talk fight night last night, Tyson Fury. He got dropped. We'll talk about it next.